Most men will never realize that the moment she pulled back just slightly, just quietly, was not about what he did. It was about what she already felt. That small withdrawal, that polite but flat response when he reached out. He could not explain it. He just knew something had closed, and he walked away wondering what went wrong. Here is what nobody told him. Touch is not the cause, it is the result. Her body had already made its decision before his hand ever moved. And that changes everything about how this works. There is a specific physical signal, something her body does without her permission, that functions like a truth detector. One response, one answer, something she cannot fake and cannot hide. If you know what you are looking at, stay with me, because by the time we reach the last one, you will understand something about female attraction that most men spend their entire lives trying to guess. If you have ever walked away from a woman wondering what you missed, that is not failure. That is what happens when nobody ever teaches you how her nervous system works. He was never broken. He was uninformed, and that is a very different thing. Most men were taught that attraction is a performance. Say the right thing, do the right thing. Appear confident enough, interesting enough, together enough. He did all of that. He tried, he showed up. The problem was never effort. The problem was the map. Her body is already responding before he acts. It has been responding the entire time. And his job is not to impress her. It is to create the conditions where her own nervous system relaxes. That is a completely different mission, one nobody gave him. The men who understand this are not more handsome or more charming. They simply know something the others do not. And today, so do you. As someone who has spent years studying human behavior and how men and women actually connect, not how they think they connect, what I am about to share with you is real, not theory, not advice. The actual mechanics beneath the surface, beneath every interaction between a man and a woman, something is happening that neither of them can see. Researchers studying touch have identified a specific class of nerve fibers in the skin called CT afferents. These were studied extensively by Dr. Oki Vallo and later extended by Dr. India Morrison at the University of Gothenburg. These nerve fibers do not respond to pressure. They do not fire when something grabs or grips. They respond exclusively to slow, gentle, socially meaningful touch. And when they fire, they do not send signals to the part of the brain that processes sensation. They send signals directly to the limbic system, the emotional brain. In other words, gentle touch bypasses logic entirely. It speaks straight to feeling before thought has a chance to weigh in. This is why two men can make the exact same gesture and get completely different reactions. One triggers warmth and openness, the other triggers discomfort or withdrawal. The difference is not the touch. The difference is the emotional signal her nervous system reads beneath it. So here is what her body is actually doing and what it is telling you in each one of these moments. The first signal lives in something most men have never thought about: personal space. Research by Edward T. Hall on what he called proxemics found that humans maintain unconscious spatial zones: intimate, personal, social, and public. When someone enters a zone they were not invited into, cortisol spikes. That is the stress hormone. Her body registers it as a threat before her mind has formed a single thought. But when a man exists calmly just outside her intimate zone, close enough to feel present, far enough to give her air, something different happens. Her nervous system begins to associate his presence with safety. Picture a warm Saturday morning at a community garden event in suburban Ohio. He is retired, easy-moving, unhurried. She is arranging flowers at the same long table. He does not crowd her. He leans slightly towards something she is doing. Interested but not pressing. Her shoulders lower. Her posture opens. She begins talking more freely. He has not touched her yet, but the permission is already being written. Understanding this changes everything. Before any touch happens, he stops arriving and acting. He starts arriving and settling. That single shift changes how she feels around him before a word is spoken. But here is where it gets interesting, because once that comfort is established, her body starts doing something she cannot control. Her nervous system does not wait for something impressive to happen. It is constantly scanning his emotional state and mirroring it. Neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolotti's discovery of mirror neurons at the University of Parma showed that these cells fire in response to observed emotion, not performed action. When a man is genuinely calm and unhurried, her brain unconsciously begins to mirror that state. Her breathing slows, her body follows his ease. Dr. Daniel Siegel calls this neural resonance, two nervous systems beginning to sync. She catches his calm like a frequency. Consider a jazz lounge in Memphis, a place he has been coming to for years since retiring. She is there with a friend. He is not performing. He is genuinely enjoying the music, the evening, the exchange. She starts unconsciously leaning the same way he leans. Her drink moves to the same side of the table. Her laugh arrives a half second after his. She has no idea this is happening. He does not need to be more. He needs to be settled. Her nervous system will do the rest. She will begin to feel things around him that she will later struggle to explain. Most men stop here. They never see the next signal, the one her body sends through a single small movement. Robert is 63, a retired high school history teacher from Knoxville, Tennessee. Silver hair, quiet dresser. Divorced 3 years ago after 28 years of marriage. His daughter moved to Portland last spring. The house is quiet in a way it never used to be. One Tuesday afternoon, he is at a bookstore near the history section. A woman is browsing the same shelf. They start talking, and it is the best conversation he has had in months. Easy, real, the kind that makes an hour disappear. At some point, she pulls her hair back over one shoulder while glancing at a book spine. He notices, but does not register it. He keeps talking about the book. 5 minutes later, she gently says she should get going. He drives home thinking maybe she was just being polite. 3 weeks later, a friend mentions something about reading body language. Robert thinks back. The hair, the way she had turned toward him, how relaxed her posture had been right before she looked at her watch. He sits with that for a long moment. He did not feel foolish. He felt something quieter than that, like a door he had not known was open had been right there the whole time. The wrist is one of the body's most physiologically vulnerable points. Veins close to the surface, pulse visible, no protective muscle layer between the skin and what runs beneath it. Evolutionary biology suggests that exposing the wrist or allowing someone near it is an unconscious signal of lowered threat response. Dr. Dasher Kellner at Berkeley has studied how touch to these vulnerable areas triggers oxytocin release, the bonding hormone, in ways that touch to neutral zones simply does not produce. When she leaves her wrist exposed near him, resting it on the table in his direction, touching it lightly herself while talking, allowing him to be near it without pulling away. Her nervous system has already made a judgment. He is not a threat. He is something else. Picture a dinner table in Charleston, South Carolina. Second time seeing each other, talking over coffee after the meal, her hands are resting naturally on the table. At some point, without thinking, she turns one wrist upward as she gestures through something she is saying. He sees it. He does not rush it. He simply stays present. A few minutes later, when he leans forward to hear her better, she does not pull her hand back. That is the answer. Not a word, just that. The wrist is a language he was never taught. Now he knows it, and what it says is clearer than anything she could say out loud. If this is starting to make sense, save this video because what comes next is the part most men never get to. And this next one, almost no one talks about it. Her breath is a direct readout of her nervous system. Research in psychophysiology shows that in moments of deep comfort or quiet attraction, breathing rates between two people begin to synchronize, a process linked to limbic resonance. Simultaneously, norepinephrine, the alertness hormone, creates a subtle heightening of sensation. She becomes more aware of him without knowing why. If her breath slows in his presence, she is relaxing into him. If it catches slightly when he enters her space unexpectedly, that is her brain registering him as significant. Both are signals. Both mean something very different from the flat neutrality of an interaction that is going nowhere. He is walking with her through a park in Savannah, Georgia. Early evening, Spanish moss overhead, the light going golden. They have been talking for an hour, easy and unhurried. He slows his pace slightly. She slows with him without noticing. He places his hand lightly on her lower back to guide her around a group on the path. She does not stiffen. Her breath does not quicken with discomfort. It deepens almost imperceptibly. She does not mention it. She does not need to. Her body has spoken. Once a man learns to notice breath, not analytically, but the way he notices weather, he gains access to a level of emotional honesty that no words can replicate. And now the final one, the one that changes everything. Hair is not neutral territory. She touches it when she is nervous. She adjusts it when she wants to feel composed. She plays with it when she is at ease. It is one of the most emotionally loaded parts of her identity, and it is constantly self-managed. When her body responds positively as he moves near it, or when she allows someone into that space, something specific is happening. Dr. Helen Fisher's research on attachment neurochemistry points to phenethylamine, sometimes called the falling in love chemical, as a neurochemical present in early romantic feeling. It creates a state of heightened focus on a specific person, and hair, intimate and personal as it is, becomes an emotional anchor. The moment ties itself to feeling, not thought. This is what researchers call emotional anchoring, rooted in the same principles as classical conditioning. When a moment produces genuine feeling, the brain stores it differently. It marks it. She will return to it in quiet moments long after the evening has ended. Her hair is where her guard lives. When it lowers there, everything has already been decided in the deeper parts of her brain, not in the thinking mind, but in the feeling one. Late summer in Minnesota, near a lake, the kind of evening that feels like it should be remembered. They have stopped talking for a comfortable moment, the kind of silence that does not need filling. A strand of her hair falls across her face. He reaches over slowly, naturally, without announcing it, and moves it aside. She does not pull away. Her head tilts just slightly into his hand. Her eyes soften. A small, unguarded smile arrives without effort. He does not need to say anything. Neither does she. Her body has already answered every question he forgot to ask. This is not a move. It cannot be manufactured. It is what happens when everything before it has been done right. When a man has been calm, unhurried, present, genuinely focused on how she feels rather than what he is supposed to do next. This moment arrives on its own, and when it does, it means everything. You now understand 5 things most men never see. The permission zone her body creates before touch begins. The mirroring her nervous system does without her awareness. The quiet language of the wrist. The truth in her breath. And what it means when she lets you near her hair. None of this is about moves. None of this is about strategy. Real connection is not something you engineer. It is something you create the conditions for, and conditions begin with how she feels in your presence. The man who understands this does not chase signals. He simply becomes someone her nervous system already trusts, and she will feel that long before she can explain it. If this gave you a new way of seeing things, hit the like button. It tells me this kind of real grounded understanding is worth continuing. Drop the word trust in the comments if something in this video shifted the way you think about connection. And if you want to understand what happens after trust is built, specifically the moment she starts showing you she wants more, the next video covers exactly that. Do not skip it. She is not hard to read. She has been speaking the whole time. Now you know the language.